to work for that guy. All right, let's start talking about some of the recent tournament results because there have been quite a few of them. And we're going to kick it off with the conclusion of the final Wings of Liberty GSL Code S. This season of GSL started off with some amazing storylines and all of the legendary champions that we love to cheer for. It ended on a slightly different note. Dan's been following all the action since the very beginning. Why don't you talk us through GSL Code S and their grand finals?
That's right, Ben. It's time for the finals of the GSL with two players that are completely fresh to the finals. We're going to have a new champion, but it'll be the last one. Who's it going to be between Azubu Symbol and Samson Conroro? The answers begin right now. With IEM World Championships played on HOT's beta server and IPO 6 officially canceled, it's only fitting that the last Wings of Liberty tournament will be GOMTV's GSL. The finals were set to be a best-of-7 ZVZ, meaning the first and last GSL trophies will be won by the Zerg race. The atmosphere was electric as Symbol and Roro exuded confidence and poise, both openly stating the outcome would be wildly in their favor. Game 1 could be summarized as Broodlord Catfight. In a metaphorical display of the Korean DMZ, neither player could break the seemingly eternal stalemate for nearly 5 minutes. Roro eventually lays a perfect trap with his infestors to chain fungal Symbol's army on multiple occasions. By setting up a trap with his infested Terrans, Symbol gets caught too many times as Roro rallies back from an early deficit on Aklon Flask, taking a 1-0 lead in the series. Roro would finally whittle back after 50 minutes of long, enduring pain, even though he lost base and Symbol had a bigger bank. We head to Icarus for Game 2, where Symbol starts another chapter of regression as he launches a frontal assault with Roach Baneling. Roro manages to barely transfuse just enough to soak up the Baneling damage while accruing a massive Roach advantage. Symbol's reinforcement Zerglings were nullified as Roro's counterattack secured him back-to-back wins, 2-0 in favor of Roro. On Belshire Vestige, Game 3, Symbol goes on the offensive yet again. Pulling out a variant of the build that he used against Curious in the semifinals, Symbol forms a creep highway to assault his opponent's earlier third. However, once more, Roro holds easily and counter-pushes to victory. With a 3-0 lead, Roro looked nigh unstoppable as he made Symbol's aggressive strategy look as impotent as my 65-year-old grandpa. After a quick break to gather his thoughts, Symbol came back ready with fire as the series moved into Game 4 on Whirlwind. Symbol feigns Roach aggression as a ploy to plant a Nidus in Roro's main base. Roro is caught out of position and loses almost all of his tech and his army. The Zubu Zerg stamps his first win of the series with Manor Niduses, declaring to the world, "I ain't done just yet." In Game 5, Neoplanet S, Roro finally takes the initiative and attempts a cheese rush with Roaches and Zerglings. But Symbol's spidey sense was tingling as he defends easily with Ling Bane. And in a poetic reversal of roles, Symbol is the one who deals the game-ending counterattack as he bursts through the frontline defense with Roaches, killing almost all the drones with Banelings as Roro's economy is in shambles, nabbing Symbol his second consecutive win. With Roro's lead starting to slip and both players focused like never before, tension was at an all-time high going into Game 6 on Cloud Kingdom. We head to minute 16 where Roro elusively pretends to drone while preparing a massive attack. Symbol, caught completely off guard, loses not only his fourth base, but also his third. However, Symbol manages to salvage his situation by killing off several of Roro's burrowed infestors, giving him a small window of opportunity to wipe out Roro's army and potentially even up the series. However, Symbol gets caught splitting his army too much as over 30 supply of Roro's Hydra's Roach army survives with minimal hit points. With no light at the end of the tunnel, Symbol finishes the series not as a player, but as a spectator as he spends the final moments of the match staring at his screen motionless. Roro closes the series down 4-2, shutting down Symbol for good off the back of strong reactive play and incredible defense. Con fans cheered their heart out for Roro as they watched his teammates celebrate with an awkward champagne celebration. With Zhangbi and Roro's championship wins, Samsung Kong claims the last Brood War and Wings of Liberty Premier tournaments. Not to mention that this was also Roro's first ever individual league's final appearance in his 5 years of pro gaming. Roro concludes Wings of Liberty with wins over Marine King, MVP, Life, MC, and Tasia. What an incredible run, what an incredible player, what an incredible story it paints for Kespa versus ESF heading into Heart of the Swarm.
Thanks a lot, Dan. That was a great look back at the GSL Code S finals, and you really have to wonder, has the torch finally been passed? Is this symbolic of the Kespa teams and where they're going to stand when Heart of the Swarm comes around?
I think so, Ben. I think it's crazy. If we can pull up some of the post graphics, this is a match to show Roa versus Symbol. If we can go into even the race distribution of next Code S season, you can see that 13 out of 31 players are Kespa. How insane is that? They've already, in just a year, they've already pretty much evened out completely the distribution between ESF versus Kespa. I can't wait for next season, especially it's going to be Heart of the Swarm, but because we get to see so many of these new faces, see how they fare in Code S.
I think it's going to be really awesome, honestly. This is, of course, a list of a couple of our previous GSL champions. Of course, those are the big names, MC, Nesty, and MVP. MVP is just such a monster.
Absolutely, and I think he's going to be even better in Heart of the Swarm. He's going to get maybe 6, 7 titles.
If nothing changes, he's going to be better, Dan. I think that's safe to say.
Man, he's looking pretty good with these fast medevacs. We can at least say that.
Perhaps it's a little symbolic that the last GSL is won by a Kespa player, and I do think that the Kespa teams are doing fantastic, and I mean my favorite player right now is a Kespa player, Rain of course, but I do not really necessarily think that from a certain point on it's going to be only Kespa players, because if you look at a team like LGIM or if you look at Startail, like those guys will forever be the best or one of their best of their races, and it doesn't really matter in my opinion how many Kespa players there are. It's just going to be like a clash of the titans. Both organizations are going to have superb players who are going to be capable of winning major tournaments on any given day. I do not think that we're going to see Kespa players win 10 major individual tournaments on a row. I do not think that's going to happen.
Unless Kespa brings LGIM into Kespa. In that scenario, because ESF is really hard to sustain by itself currently by their
and that's only a few months away, by the way, when that whole trade deadline.
October, no?
Yeah.
That's quite a while. But I mean, obviously if they absorb every single player, yes, then Kespa will dominate, because then there is no competition.
They have the money for it, though.
They were able to pay parting 90 grand, or however much it was.
9 grand a month.
I know. I hope that it stays like this, and I think it's going to be very interesting, as I think can just be a clash of the titans, always going to create for interesting storylines, because you do often see whenever it is a Kespa player against an ESF player that there's like a little more taunting in the game than there normally is. Like,
and that was a great crowd turnout too, man. I really feel like having some Kespa guys in the final maybe played to that a little bit.
That those guys had nothing else to do than watching a ZVZ on the Saturday night. Just kidding, guys.
Yeah, but let's hope that ESF doesn't go away, because I feel like the competition that is sparked there, the storyline that's sparked there is actually really, really nice for spectators, and everybody likes the underdog, and I think ESF is the underdog in this case.
Well, they've certainly been a phenomenal organization throughout the life of StarCraft II Wings of Liberty, and nobody, I think, has done a better job of kind of running that organization than Mr. Che himself. And we took some time to talk to Mr. Che. Actually, Dan sat down with him, and here's what he had to say.
Hello, everyone. I am joined by Mr. Che, the GSL director and the strategic part of eSports directing for GSL. Mr. Che, how are you doing today?
Fine. I just finished my casting GSL semifinals.
Now, GSL just recently announced that they're going to be moving studios to Gangnam. How excited are you guys, and what are the best parts about moving to a new studio in Gangnam?
Mokdong studio is very decent and good, but we need more larger studio for fans and for some publishers. Gangnam studio is very popular city in Korea, so many fans can get and watching our esports event.
How are you guys planning for Heart of the Swarm? Are you guys planning to do anything special in Korea, or maybe not even in Korea?
Yeah, we have Heart of the Swarm launch event in Korea, as you know, in US, and we'll have some launch show in 11th March. Yeah.
Now, we talked about Korean esports. What do you think about esports in foreign countries? Are you guys excited by what's happening in the foreign scene?
I think the foreign esports scene needs the regular ongoing content and ongoing competition like NASL, you guys. Much more people will jump into esports industry, and much more sponsors will jump into it. Korean players are strong because they have GSL and they have ongoing competition, and so they have infrastructure for gaming house, and fans and casters too.
In the foreign scene, we really like Nesty, MVP, MC, who are Korea's favorite pro gamers and maybe your favorite pro gamers.
Most popular Korean gamers in Korea is, I think, Nesty, and MVP is too. My favorite is Nesty and Stefano too. I'm officially Nesty fanboy.
Mr. Che, thank you so much for joining us on the set. Is there a last message you would like to give to the fans in the foreign community?
NASL is doing very amazing job, and I watched first show every time, and you guys discussion is very high level for esports. It's almost similar to other sports show. I think we need this kind of show in GSL too. Other foreign fans, please watching GSL entirely, and we are preparing some more actions for you. Not only StarCraft 2, but also other games too.
Thank you so much, Mr. Che, for your time, and good luck for next season as well as the finals for this season of GSL.
Thank you.
Man, Mr. Che seems like such an awesome guy. I mean, he's so happy just to be talking to us. Something that to I guess my great fault that I didn't realize, that I think a lot of people probably didn't realize, is that every GSL game that has ever been casted in Korean has been casted by Mr. Che.
Wow.
That's crazy.
How about that?
Yeah.
I actually have a Mr. Che story. The first BlizzCon of 2011, I was casting NASL. Of course, I was getting a lot of heat at that time. And Mr. Che actually walked up to me. He's like, "Oh, you're Gretorp." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I'm Mr. Che." And, we started talking. He's like, "Just don't let anybody get you down, because you know you're a good caster, and you just keep doing it and improve." And
Oh,
I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." From a guy like so high up in the community coming down to talk to me at the time, I was like, wow.
man.
Ever since then, I
That's
really
such a
respected
nice
him.
story.
I'm really excited, by the way, guys, about their new studio. As they were talking a little bit about it in the video as well. I went to the studio in Mokdong quite a few times, because I'm not sure if people know, but in 2009 or 10, I think it was 2009, I casted a Warcraft 3 Invitational for GOMtv together with Johan Mello. Thought like the Warcraft fans really loved it back then, because we didn't really have like regular content on streams. Like the way we would watch games is either ESL would have like a stream, but then we would just sit in the studio and kind of like jump into games, and would never be much like actually at the event, or we would use a program called WarTV. But now actually for the first time in like Warcraft 3 history, we had regular broadcasting days, and even though it was just like an online invitational, and normally people wouldn't have thought it was such a big deal, they really love watching that tournament. So we went to the studio in Mokdong quite a few times, and yeah, I remember it, but it is indeed like a lot smaller than you think it is. It is actually very, very small. Sometimes I wonder even where they put the fans, because from what I remember, there's really not a lot of room for fans. It's like the Korean casters are here, and then you are here, and it's like, okay, the room is pretty much filled up.
You guys remember the picture that Tasteless tweeted? He's like, the tasteless view from the studio, and it's like he's sitting at his desk and he takes a picture, and it's just like a wall, like right in front of him.
Mop or something like that.
Yeah. So really cool to see that they're going to be moving to that new studio. I hope it's going to be a great success, as I'm sure it will be. Certainly under the leadership of Mr. Che, he's a great guy. What are you giggling about over there, Kev?
No, just thinking back of the times. Like, Todd is actually really funny. For the people who don't know, like the GSL guys, or back then the GOM guys, they were super cool as well. But they always told us, like, be on time. Like, they want us to be there at 7 p.m. Well, our show started at 9. And in the first few days, we were like okay with that. But after a certain moment, we were getting kind of tired of it. So, it slacked to like 7:15, 7:30, 7:45. Then Todd, like at a certain moment, he said, I'm getting so sick of these guys calling me all the time, because they would always call us while we're like about to walk in the studio. They would call us again. Then on a certain moment, the show starts at 8:30. Or at 9, and it was like 8:30, and we were like very close. And then Todd gets called again, and he said already the time before, it's like, hey, you guys really have to stop calling me, because I'm getting annoyed. Because we were always like way on time. And then he's like, if they call me again, I'm gonna get so mad. I was like, just calm down, Johan. So it's like 8:35, we're about to like walk in the studio, he gets called. And he's like, hey, Johan, where are you? He's like, I'm at the Walker Hill Casino playing poker with Roddy. Why? He's like, oh, you have to cast, you have to cast. He's like, oh, do I have to cast today? And then like the guy totally freaked out. He's like, okay, stay there, I'm gonna get you. The guy like runs down the stairs and he's like all sweaty and nervous, and we walk in the studio and we're like, hey guys, and he's like, why are you here? There's so many moments like that. I love my time at the
That's the most cruel story I've ever heard.
The guy's just doing his job.
He's like, yeah, it was our job to be there at 7, but we were showing up at 8:30, and Todd was getting really mad that the boss was upset with us.
It was really fun. Other really quick story is that Todd used to keep playing as the guy who did our observing for Warcraft 3. Like, we already had a dedicated observer back in the days. It's a really quick story. And when we were that early, and like the days that we would be there at 7, Todd would have liked to play like some StarCraft Brood War against the guy. And Todd thought he was good, but that guy, like in complete honor, was like really good. And he kept beating Todd, but if Todd loses, he wants to play again. That's how it always works in Warcraft 3 and also in Brood War. And then the guy beat Todd 3 times on the row, and they're like, okay, it's time to get ready for the show. And Todd's like, no, we play again. And everyone's like, no, we ain't enough time. He's like, yes, again. So they play again, and then Todd won, but I really think the guy just you know, like, we have to get ready for the show. It's good times.
Johan will never admit to that.
Very good times.
All right, guys. Well, we're up on a hard break, so we're going to take a short commercial break. When we get back, we're talking about Intel Extreme Masters. That tournament concluded just the other day. Gretorp's going to take us through it. Don't go anywhere. The Pulse will be right back.
Hello, I'm Mr. Che, and you are watching The Pulse.